And the saga of former Buffalo DEA agent Joe Bongiovanni continued today in court as he prepares for a retrial.
Prosecutors say that he accepted bribes from drug dealers in exchange for protecting them. As they prepare for round number 2 now, Channel 2's Dave McKinley reports Bongiovanni's lawyers are trying to get charges against their client dismissed. Dave?
They are trying to get a judge to toss both the charges Bongiovanni was already convicted of at his first trial, Scott, as well as several remaining counts due to what they insist is a lack of solid evidence and just how long this case has languished. After a 2-month-long trial which concluded in April, Bongiovanni was convicted on 1 count of obstruction of justice and 1 count of lying to federal agents. But jurors were unable to reach a verdict on the remaining 12 counts, including the most serious ones against him. Today, Bongiovanni's lawyers first argued to have the counts their client was convicted of set aside, in part due to revelations that the relationship between bickering jurors had grown contemptuous, leading them to question whether they were following the instructions of the judge. They're also moving to have remaining bribery and drug conspiracy counts dismissed. At the first trial, Katrina Nigro, the ex-wife of co-defendant Peter Gerace, will be tried separately, testified that inside the Pharaoh strip club that Gerace owned, she handed an envelope to Bongiovanni at Gerace's direction, which she presumed was money, but on cross-examination had to admit she never saw what was in it and therefore couldn't say for sure. Such lack of evidence, according to Bongiovanni's lawyers, make that charge ripe for dismissal well before prosecutors again start hauling in these boxes of evidence for the second trial now scheduled for July 29th. The prosecution team left court today after arguing the new jury should be allowed to decide how much weight to give Nigro's testimony and that there is enough other evidence to indicate Bongiovanni was protecting Gerace, such as through the testimony of his former partner at the DEA, Anthony Casulo, who said Bongiovanni dissuaded he and other agents from investigating Gerace for years before he was eventually charged. Meanwhile, his lawyers are also asking the judge to modify the terms of Bongiovanni's continued release, specifically to relieve him from having to continue to wear an ankle bracelet to monitor his whereabouts, which they say has now resulted in complications from an existing medical condition that causes his legs to swell. Meanwhile, his lawyers are also moving to have the charges dismissed on speedy trial grounds, as they note the case against Bongiovanni is now over 5 years old. In court today, the defense and prosecution took turns blaming each other for the delays. And one more noteworthy thing, when the next trial is held, it will be minus 1 witness who died last month. A transcript of their previous testimony will be read instead, with jurors only being told it was derived from a previous court proceeding. On your side in the studio, Dave McKinley, Channel 2 News.
All right, Dave.